Hey, what's going on? This is another episode of a double header story dump for the reporter vlog for April 26, 2024. Um, from TikTok news to copycats. That's I guess you can call it a good thing, but you can't beat the original. These copycat Texas Roadhouse rolls taste just like the real thing. uh, well, let's get right into this story. When you sit down for a meal at Texas Roadhouse, there's probably one thing on your mind. No, it's not the hand cut steaks and slow cooked ribs and even the crispy chicken critters. It's those gorgeous fluffy rolls that greet you on the table like a radiant pot of gold. If you ever had one, you will know how soft, sweet, and satisfying they are. In fact, it can be hard to stop yourself from filling up on rolls alone. Well, now you can set the stage for a comforting family meal just like they do on American Steakhouse with homemade version of this iconic Roadhouse rolls according to the recipe taster Robbie Lozano. Our copycat recipe tastes just like the real thing. A trip to the restaurant chain. Well, Texas Roadhouse rolls. Texas Roadhouse rolls aren't just old yeast rolls. They're an experience from start to finish. They're served warm, which brings out the subtle sweetness and soft, airy texture. Plus, they're paired with a crave-worthy, salty, sweet cinnamon honey butter that takes them to another level of bread bliss. With this copycat recipe, we aimed to capture all the nostalgia and comfort of the Texas Roadhouse experience, but to keep it simple enough to together at home. These homestyle rolls turned out rich, tender, and irresistible. It's a perfect addition to any meal, whether it would be a holiday feast or a simple weekend dinner. These went fast in the test kitchen, proving there is nothing better than bread straight out of the oven. Said recipe tester Elizabeth Mervash. These rolls were very easy to make and didn't require shaping, which I loved. They're like soft little pillows of goodness. The key to Texas Roadhouse is the lightness, fluffiness, and sweetness of the copycat. The recipe nails all the three characteristics. To achieve that, our test kitchen staff pulled out their best baking tricks, like scalding the milk on the stove before reducing it to a cooler temperature. Well, for the yeast, this helps breaks down the protein that can inhibit gluten structure and rise in the oven, ultimately giving you a much lighter and more tender roll. You also realize roll house rolls they have to be square. So we decided to flatten and fold the dough to achieve the unique shape. Folding the dough also yields little crevices in the center of the roll, perfect for splitting up open and smearing it with butter. Finally, egg wash seals in the glossy exterior and encourages golden baked, creating the classic Texas Roadhouse look. Best part about the recipe is that you can make it days ahead of time. Just wrap the roll in aluminum foil after the cool seal, then the Ziploc Seal them with a zip top bag and store them in the freezer. When it's almost time for dinner, bake the full wrapper rolls, forward wrap rolls for 20 minutes, and just like that, an old weekend meal that gets a taste of Texas Roadhouse comfort. And as far as how to make copycat Texas Roadhouse rolls, in a small saucepan over a medium heat, cook milk until it starts bubbling around the edges. About 5 minutes, pour the milk into a bowl of a stand mixer fitted with the dough hooked attachment. Stir in some sugar and butter. Let the mixture cool down in about 10 minutes. When it's warm, but not too warm, hot, stir in active dry yeast. Wait another 10 minutes till it starts to get foamy. Next, add salt and egg yolk and egg and some flour and beat on low speed for about a minute. While the mixture is still on low, add more flour, about a half cup at a time, till the wet sticky dough forms. Bump up the mixing speed medium and work the dough for another 8 to 10 minutes. Oh, okay. I just looked at it. Yep. All right. Well, yeah. Next, add in salt, an egg yolk, and egg and some flour, and beat that on low speed for about a minute. Now the mixture is still on low. Add more flour, about a half a cup at a time, until the wet sticky dough forms. Bump up to the mixing speed to about a minute and work on the dough for about 8 to 10 minutes until it becomes smooth and elastic and starts to pull away from the sides. Move the dough to a large grease bowl to rise, loosely covered and warm place for about an hour till doubled in size. Till doubled in size. Tip: the first proof of the dough can also be done in the fridge overnight. Once it's risen, punch the dough down and fold it out onto a light floured work surface. Press or roll the dough until the even into an even rectangle shape about a half an inch in thickness. Then use a knife to cut the dough about 16 by 8 inch rectangle. Starting at a long end, fold the dough in half to form 16 by 4 inch rectangle. Then pinch the edges in the two halves together until sealed. Using a knife or a pizza cutter and a ruler to help measure, cut the dough into 16 2 inch squares. Move the dough to a parchment lined baking sheet. Loosely covered it with plastic wrap. To rise for another hour at room temperature. If the pan feels a little bit crowded, that's okay. Brush the top of each roll with egg wash and bake. And bake in a 350 degree oven for 12 to 16 minutes until golden brown. As soon as they come out of the oven, brush them with melted butter. Serve them warm with a bowl of our cinnamon butter. All right, that's gonna do it for that one. There you have it. A helpful story for those that like the Texas Roadhouse rolls. Uh, uh, can't post the story itself, but um, the, hopefully I read the instructions clear enough where you can understand how to make them legendary rolls. There's one place I never went to in 45 years, 45 years of life. One place we never went to. Heard about it on commercials, of course, but never got a chance to go. Seems seems like a good place, especially with them rolls shining and looking good. but that's gonna do it. Oh, this is another episode of the Porter Vlog with a two-in-one story dump uh, for April 26th, 2024. You have a good one. I'm gone.